So, of course, we have a wonderful opportunity today to hold a mirror up and look at ourselves. I know we're wanting to take the country and the world forward on this Madiba Day, but sometimes we need to look inwards. And I think Nelson Mandela said it best. Leadership is not about being in charge. It is about inspiring others to believe in and achieve something greater than themselves. Getting that right is a different matter. To make a lasting impact, you must master your leadership game and ignite the spark of possibility in those around you. I'm ready to burn, buddy.
Yes,
Light me up, come on.
Also brought in some professionals to assist you with this one. So we're going to discuss this further. Let's dive deep into this. We've got live coach Warren Munitz here, as well as soccer coach Curtley Daniels. And let's get straight into it. Gentlemen, how are we doing?
How's it going?
Well, I like the way you have to look at each other just to confirm you were indeed who you are.
Yeah,
okay,
that is I.
Double identities here. I love the fact that we've got both of you here, so thank you so much for this. Leadership is one of those interesting qualities because we all want it. Not necessarily the responsibility that comes with it. And I think often those two work in the reverse. The responsibility comes, then you grow into that leadership role. But maybe we can start with you, Warren. What does leadership mean to you? Is it a big organizational thing? Is it just being that guy at home? What does that mean?
So, I don't know if you remember a movie, it's Remember the Titans.
Yes,
and there was a statement in that where this kid, the captain comes up to the kid and says, you know, your attitude sucks. And he turns around and he says, attitude reflects leadership, Captain. Oof. And that really stuck with me I mean, even to today. So, and for me, leadership is about waking up. It's about taking responsibility. It's about it's getting on that journey of knowing who you are, know thyself.
Yeah.
You know, and that requires self-awareness.
Yeah. Which is not always pretty or easy, but it's necessary. Yeah.
Curtley, you're someone that's in a space where kids are literally looking up to you. They see you as a leader. How does that impact you in terms of the decisions you make? Does it keep you more accountable, or does it often find you slipping up in certain
You run away with the power of it. Drunk from the power.
I feel the responsibility. That is something that you have to own up to, the ownership. Because you're a father to many now.
Yeah.
And you're young, but you're a father to many that's looking up to you. And I feel that's where do you start? You have to look at your father.
Yeah.
You grow from your father, you learn from your father in his leadership role. And then I have another amazing father-in-law who's also a leader in a different way. And I take all the qualities and I try and be like, okay, this is what I can work with. Okay, this is my way of doing it. I can brush up here. And this is what I want to instill in my players and the kids that's looking up to me as well. That's important.
I like that, like recalibrating and just like upgrading.
That's exactly what your job is. I love that. But it also speaks to what you are going through, that process that they are witnessing. And often it's not the stuff that we tell our kids. And I'm constantly reminded of this as a dad. It's the stuff that they see. It's the stuff that we do. That being said, okay, you've got to coach this into people. You've got to hone those skills, sometimes in terms of effective leadership of an organization. But I think most people want to own their space and have confidence within their life, which speaks to that leadership quality. How do we foster those skills?
So I was thinking about that. And yeah, how do you know when you've had enough water to drink, or when you're riding a bicycle and you know you need a counter steer, you need a counterbalance?
Proprioception, yeah.
So it's sensitivity to awareness.
Sure.
That's self-awareness, right? And when you have that sensitivity to what you're feeling, you have effective functioning.
Sure. And you can become quite nuanced in that functioning as well.
Right. So you have what's conscious awareness, and then you have what's unconscious. So Carl Jung described, or we said, that until you make the unconscious conscious, it will direct your life and you'll call it fate. So this is not a one and done, right? We're talking about, this is not a one and done. This is a way of life.
Yeah.
And so it's not an object. You know,
it's not a past judgment, a future goal. It's a lived reality.
You have to actually become this way and embody it, and that is how you reach your potential, your full potential.
Oh, I love that.
Oh, All the
Warren
fires
drops the mic
burning
right there.
Burning, I love it.
Listen, I want to keep the theme back to Madiba, obviously, because there's so many little nuggets and gems that we can really just lean into. And one thing that he said was that sport has the power to change the world. It has the power to unite people in a way that little else does. It speaks to youth in a language that they understand. This is important. This is pertinent. I would imagine in your situation, being in this environment, sport has shown you to adopt so many different qualities. What have you learned, most importantly, about the way sport develops leadership and the way it promotes it, and what benefit it has in the entire space itself?
And in terms of the development, in terms of what do you want out of it? What is your goal? What's your toolbox to make it to the next level? Your determination, your passion, your desire, your energy, your love for the sport. That's important, because you can have all the attitude and all the talent, but if you're not nourishing it, if you're not performing well, if you're not training it, then where is it going to take you? Ultimately, that's important. You need to know where you're going, what you want from it, and how you're going to get there.
Love that. And I have the virtue of being really old here. And meeting the Brian Banners, for instance, who are tapping into those skills and turning it into successful businesses. Obviously a very intelligent guy, but these lessons learnt on the sporting field, those lessons of fortitude and strength of character and brotherhood and sisterhood and using those connections, vitally important. I just want you to keep talking so I can listen to your voice, Curtley. I love it, man. Yours is also lovely, Warren. Yours is also lovely, okay? Curtley, come on, stick around. But that's how you master your leadership game. It's within your own context. It's with the people around you.
Oh, yes. And, of course, we want you to join in on the conversation right now and come through on our social pages. And that's, of course, in celebration of Mandela Day. That's today, just by the way. So tell us why you think Madiba was a good leader and what leadership qualities you most admire. Now, don't go anywhere, because we're going to be continuing this conversation in just a moment.
It's my feel-good
It's been an amazing and quite a thought-provoking show, which is exactly what we want. So welcome back. Thanks for diving right back in. We are honed in on leadership right now. And I like this description. It is a garden. It requires nurturing to flourish and inspires growth in others. By mastering our leadership game, we are able to cultivate positive change. And boy, don't we need that now.
Yes, indeed. Now, someone who leads us into positive change is none other than Tata Madiba. Now, this is something that is definitely getting us inspired. So let's take a look at this before we dive into some more conversation.
We understand it still that there is no easy road to freedom. We know it well that none of us acting alone can achieve success. We must therefore act together as a united people for national reconciliation, for nation building, for the birth of a new world. Let there be justice for all. Let there be peace for all. The sun shall never set on so glorious a human achievement. Let freedom reign.
Let freedom reign. I think there was something that I've loved, and I think Madiba would stand up in today's Andrew Tate nonsense-driven world because he was strong. You kind of got a sense that you could push him back down. When he got back up, it wasn't a sign of weakness or subservience. It was an aggressive act of defiance. Almost so much of what he said had that kind of feeling. Does a leader need to be that, to follow through, to see it done, to get this job done? Do we need that kind of leadership again to say, I don't care what you want, I'm going to get us to that line? Where does the strength in a leader need to be kind of defined?
You know, when you look at Madiba, and you got to realize that the man was on this path of self-realization. No one can fake that kind of humility, that kind of courage, that kind of, and that level of forgiveness, and specifically perseverance. It's just not possible. So he's on that path. That fire is burning within him. And what we talked about, truth is eternal. It's not that this is a fact or that's a fact. It's a truth that's burning in your heart. And, you know, it's clear that his was ignited.
You forget that this was a personal journey because so much got channeled through him as an individual. You kind of think of it as our story and forget that this is the story of one man. Yes, informed by an incredible community and cadres and brothers and sisters around him, but there's a reason why Nelson Mandela Day stands, and this was one man's journey.
Definitely, but I definitely think the truth of it is something that is so much more pertinent than we can even imagine, because still to this day we are dealing with some of the issues that he's highlighted, and still to this day we're lacking some of the leadership that I think he represented so proudly in his era. Speaking of that leadership, what do you think right now in the organizations that we see, in the world that's going on currently, what's lacking in our leadership? You both are in a position where you see leadership work in such positive ways. Yeah. What's missing in our world right now?
Maybe from the perspective, because you get to plug into these young people who have kind of an unfiltered view of the world.
So in terms of having the expert with me as well, we had a discussion early on, and I was saying, we have all the tools. You have all the tools in your box, where you want to go. In terms of, you have it, because that's what you're deciding. That's your fate. You're deciding it. And then what is your mentality to it? How are you bouncing back from the knockdown? What is your bounce back? Because everybody says, fall down 10 times, get up again, and go again. So, but in terms of what are you doing as an individual? What is your go-to? You need to find the go-to. And too many times we have excuses. We have like, no, not today, it's cold, I can't train.
Monday,
not today. Next week, I'm not
too much pain,
But that is, and ultimately it catches up to you later in your years, later in your career, because the sacrifice, that is what brings the reward. That's what I think.
100%.
We're going to leave it there. I've got so much to think about, as I'm sure the rest of this amazing team and panel and everyone watching hopefully has taken on board today. And we can see a lack of leadership and fantastic leadership manifesting every day here in South Africa. But there is something special going on right now. I don't know if it's that young people are just standing up and doing it for themselves, but we feel more connected to Tata Madiba's energy and his spirit, that strength and fortitude now than ever before. So look for those opportunities to be a leader within your own life, within your own little ecosystem. It can be within your family, your school, your community. There are ways that you can stand up, even just for yourself.
Yeah, and it's the small steps that really count towards allowing us to become leaders in our own space. And one thing that's really stood out for me right now is that the truth will set us free. So live your truth, embody your truth, and of course, master your ability to lead in whatever space you are in right now. So here's an opportunity for you, Mzansi, to win big. You can have the opportunity to win one of 10 masterclass subscriptions, and that's worth 3,000 Rand each.
Good.
Oh yes, it's an incredible opportunity to do so. Just want to scan the QR code right now on your screen if you can see that, and you can share everything that you are doing to master your look. So don't forget, you can stand a chance to win big, and not just one of you, but 10 of you in total. Man, this is something that for me is beyond a conversation right now. It's literally moving me to think that that man's words echoed so much within us that in the moment when he spoke it, we believed it. Now we need to continue to action it. It's the only thing missing right now.
We've got to absolutely love it, man. Curtley, just say goodbye for the people watching.
Goodbye, everybody.
Goodbye, everybody.
I love it.
But you're great, Phil. You're great. You're great.